Good morning, M4. In today's math lesson, we are going to talk about adding fractions with unlike denominators. You might ask, what's unlike denominators, Miss Maria? Unlike denominators means different denominators. Let's do a quick recap of what you did yesterday. Yesterday, we add fraction with the same denominators. For example, 1/2 plus 1/2. You have the same denominators here, so you just copy the denominator 2 and then you add your numerators 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2, so you have 2 over 2, or also equals to 1 whole. Another example, 3/4 plus 2/4. You have the same denominator 4, you just copy 4 and then you add the numerators on top. 3 plus 5 is, 3 plus 2 is 5, so you have 5/4. But this time we are going to add fractions with unlike denominators, which means that down here our denominators are not going to be the same. So we are going to learn how to add them together. There are two ways to get the answers when you add fractions with different denominators. I'm gonna teach you both of them. We'll try to make it quick. Okay, first way is like this. On the board we have 2/3 and a 1/4. As you can see, they have different denominators, 3 and 4. And this time, since they have the same, or rather different denominators, we cannot just add them like this, 2 plus 1, 3 plus 4. No, we can't do that. What you will have to do, first step is we get their common denominator. This is first step. I'll just write S1. Okay. Step 1, we get the common denominator. And to get the common denominator, what you'll have to do, you're just going to multiply times 3 and 4. So 3 times 4 is equals 12. So that's our common denominator. 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12 will be our denominator. Step 2, you need to do, or we will use cross multiplication. We have encountered this before. I'll just remind you. Cross multiplication is you're going to multiply them or times them cross. So our fraction here is 2/3 and 1/4. So you're going to multiply it like this. 4 times 2 is 8. 3 times 1 is still 3. So that's why we call it cross multiplication. So remember to put the answer on top, okay? On top, not below. You don't write 2/4 or 1/3. Just put it on top. Okay, so for step 3, we need to get the numerator. We already have our denominator here, which is 12. Now this time we need to get our numerator. And for us to get the numerator, we have to add the answers of our CM. CM is cross multiplication. The answers on our CM is, we have 8 and 3. So you're just going to add them. 8 plus 3. 8 plus 3 equals to 11. So 11 will be our numerator. I'll just write it here. So 11 will be our numerator. Therefore, on the problem 2/3 plus 1/4, the answer is, our numerator is 11. Our denominator is 12. So that's the answer. 11, 12. Simple as that. We have 3 steps. You may pause the video right here to take down notes. I also included this in the instruction in Google Classroom. Okay, so let's do another example. On the board, we have 3/5 plus 2/3. So these are our fraction. And again, they don't have the same denominators. They're different. So step 1, we are going to multiply or times our denominators, the numbers below. 5 times 3. 5 times 3 is 15. So 15 is going to be our denominator. So to get our numerator, we are going to do cross multiplication. So 3 times 3 is, 3 times 2 is 9. I'm just going to put a small 9 here. 5 times 2 is 10. So you're going to add them together. 9 plus 10 equals 19. So that's your answer. So this is going to be your answer, 19/15. Another example we have here, 1/2 plus 2/3. Again, to get the denominator, we are going to multiply the denominator, of course. 2 and 3. 2 times 3 is 6. And then you're going to do cross multiplication. 3 times 1 is 3. 2 times 2 is 4. And you're going to add them. 3 plus 4 is 7. Therefore, the answer is 7/6. Okay, another example I have here, 1/2 plus 1/6. You might think they have the same numerator, but no, we are always going to check denominators and not numerators. Okay, in this example, we have different denominators, 2 and 6. So the same thing you do, you're going to times or multiply them. 2 times 6 is 12. And you're going to do cross multiplication. 6 times 1 is 6. 2 times 1 is 2. You add them. 6 plus 2 is 8. So we have an answer, 8/12. Yes, it's an answer, but look at it. It's not yet the final answer. We can still simplify it to a small fraction. We have 8/12 here. So to do that, you have to think, this is where your times table gets very useful. You have to think, what number can we divide both of them? You have to think, what number can be divisible, both of them? Can we divide it using 3? You can divide 12 with 3 because it will equals to 4, but you cannot divide 8 with 3. So you have to think, what other number can we use to divide both of them? What about 4? If we are going to divide them by 4, 8 divided by 4 is, very good, 2. And then for 12, 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now, you have to rub it off. Now, 2/3 is our final answer because that is the simplest form of the fraction. This is also the answer, 8/12, but it's not yet the final answer, okay? So you have to be careful to check it. But this is not yet the final answer, so you have to think what numbers you can use that can be divided, that you can divide to both numbers. But you might ask, what about the other examples, Miss Maria? Yes, we have 19/15 here. They don't have any numbers, any number that can be divided to both of them. You can divide 15 with 5, but 5 you cannot divide it with 19. So that is why there's none. As well with 7 and 6. You can divide 6 with 3, but 7, no, you can't divide 7 with 3. That's why that's the final answer. But in this case, 8 and 12, it can be divided with 4, like what we did. That is why we have to simplify the answer. Okay, so another example we have on the board is 2/4 plus 1/2. So again, you're going to multiply them. 4 times 2 is 8. Cross multiplication, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. So 4 plus 4 is 8. Yes, that's the answer. 8 and 8. But you can simplify that. 8 and 8, numerator is the same with the denominator. It is also equals to 1. So your answer is 1. Okay, another example we have down there is 1/4 plus 3/8. Again, we are going to multiply the denominators. 4 times 8. 4 times 8 is 32. So you write 32 there. Cross multiplication, 8 times 1 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. And you have to add the numbers together. 8 plus 12 is 20. So that is your answer, 20 over 32. But as you can see, 20 over 32, yeah, it's the answer, but it looks big. The fraction looks big. We can simplify it to a smaller fraction. Now think, what number can you use to divide 20 and 32 at the same time, the same number? So for 20 and 32, you may think the number that can be divided both of them is 2. Yes, that's right, you can. However, you have to think, try to go a little bit higher. Because if you're going to multiply it with 2, it's not going to be the final answer still. So you have to think, can there be a bigger number than 2 that we can use to divide 20 and 32? Say, what about 3? Can you divide 20 with 3? No, you can't, because there will be a decimal point if you do that. With 32, you cannot as well divide 3 with 32, because you will get a decimal point with that, or with a remainder. What about 5? Yes, you can. With 20, you can divide 20 with 5, but you cannot use 5 with 32. What about 4? Let's see, you can divide 20 with 4, and you can also divide 32 with 4. So let's put 4 here. 20 divided by 4 equals to 5. Now 32 divided by 4 equals to 8. Therefore, our final answer is 5/8. Simple as that. Okay, so these are the first way to get the answer when you are going to add fraction with unlike denominators. There's also a second way. I will explain that quickly, and we'll do a few exercises, or rather examples. Okay, so this is the second way to get the answer when you add fractions with different denominators. On the board, we have 1/2 and 2/6. They have different denominators. And in this way, you're going to find, step 1 is you're going to find the common denominator for the fraction. You're going to check for multiples. We have 2 and 6 as denominator. So you have to think 2 is small, and we have 6 here, and 6 is a multiple of 2. Like 2, 4, 6. Remember your times table. 2, 4, 6. All right, here 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and so on. So you see here for the 2, it has 6 here. So 6 is a multiple of 2. So we can use 6. Therefore, we can use 6 as our common denominator because we already have 6 here. So what did we multiply? What do we multiply with 2 to get 6? We multiply it with, of course, we multiply it with 3. So I'm going to put 3 here. 3. So since we multiply our denominator 2 with 3, we are also going to multiply our numerator 1 with 3. So I'm going to put 3 here as well. Only for this fraction, because we already have 6 here. Okay, so you're just going to copy this down to 6. Okay, so you're just going to copy that down to 6. So for this one, we are going to multiply 3 times 2. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 1 is 3. Plus. You might ask why we did not multiply this fraction with 3, Miss Maria? Well, because the goal here is to find a common denominator, and we are going to use 6 since 6 is a multiple of 2. So that is why we don't have to multiply 6 with 3, because the goal here is to find the same denominator. So if we're just going to multiply this fraction, 3 times 2, we get 6 here. So now they have the same denominators. So you can see 6 and 6. If you're going to multiply 6 with 3, you will have 18, and it's not gonna be the same anymore. They won't have the same denominators anymore. So that is why we only do it with this fraction. Okay. Now that they have the same denominator, 6 and 6, like your yesterday's activity, you're just going to copy the denominator here, 6, and you're just going to add the numerators 3 and 2. 3 plus 2 is 5. So the answer is 5, 6. So this is another way to get the answer. You have to think of the multiples. So your times table works, or rather will help you here a lot. Another example, let's say we have 1/2 again and 2/4. 1/2 and 2/4. So in this case, you have to think again what multiples. We have the denominators 2 and 4. And in this case, 4 is a multiple of 2, 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 4 here. So we're going to use 4 as our denominator. So since we're going to use 4 as denominator, you're just going to copy 2/4. 2/4. Okay, so since we're going to use 4 as our denominator, rather, think what number are we going to multiply to 2 to get the answer 4? That's going to be 2, so times here. And since we're going to multiply 2 with 2, we're also going to multiply our denominator with 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1 is 2. And now we have the same denominators, 4 and 4. Therefore, you just copy the denominator here, 4, and then you're going to add the ones on top. 2 plus 2 is 4. So we have 4/4, also equal to 1, just like that. Okay, I'll give you one more example. Let me just rub this off. One more example. Let's say we have 2/4 plus 3/8. 2/4 plus 3/8. Again, think of multiples. We have 4 and 8 as our denominators. And for smalls, we have to think of 8. Is 8 a multiple of 4? 4, 8, 12, 16, so on. As you can see, 8 is a multiple of 4. So we are going to use 8 as our denominator. Since we're going to use 8 as our denominator, we are just going to copy this fraction. 3/8. And then for 4, you have to think what can we multiply to 4 to get the denominator 8? We multiply it with 2. We are also going to multiply our numerator with 2. So 2 times 4 equals to 8. 2 times 2 equals to 4. Now they have the same denominator. You just put down or copy 8 as the denominator, and then you're going to add the numerators only. 4 plus 3 is 7. So that's your answer. And on this example, we have 1/3 and 2/5. Now you have to think what is the common number between 3 and 5. Again, use your times table. For 3, we have 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, so on. For 5, we have the multiples of 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, so on. Now you have to think, what is the common number do they have here? They have a common number of 3, 6, they have a common number of 15. 15k. So they have the common number 15. Therefore, we are going to use the denominator 15. So I'm just gonna put, we're going to use the denominator 15. Now think, for this fraction, for 1/3, we are going to use 15, right? As our denominator. So think, what number can we multiply to 3 to get 15? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Of course, we use 5. So since we multiply our denominator here with 5, we are also going to multiply our numerator with 5. So 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 1 is 5. So for this fraction 1/3, it's gonna be 5/15 now. Now in the second fraction, you have to think we are going to use the fraction the denominator is 15. So for this fraction, think, what can you multiply with 5 to get 15? You can multiply it with 3. And since you multiply your denominator here with 3, you are also going to multiply your numerator with 3 times 3. Okay, so 5 times 3 equals to 15. 2 times 3 equals to 6. Now they have the same denominators, 15. So just going to 15 plus 15. Oh, no. You're just going to rather copy 15 as your denominator. And then you're going to add your numerators, 5 and 6. 5 plus 6 is 11. So that is your answer. Okay, so I'm just gonna stop the examples over there. You can always watch the video again if there is something that you don't understand. Try to watch it again and listen properly. Okay, so on your activity, it's up to you if you want to use the first way to get the answer when you add the fraction, the one with the cross multiplication, or you can also use this way to get the answer when you add the fraction. It's totally up to you where you find it easy. Okay, but make sure you take clear photos of your answer and send it to me.